Hello everybody, my name is Drew and I'm with the @1 Digital Media Checkout. And today you're going to be learning about some of our mic and recorder kits, specifically the Sennheiser Lavalier and some of our basic handheld recorders. Let's get to it. Lavalier microphones, also known as lapel mics or lavs for short, are small, easily concealable microphone kits that can send signal from a transmitter to a receiver without using a cable. Due to their low profile, we can affix Lav Mics directly to our talent, as we're doing here. This wireless setup makes the Lav kit super versatile, and it's a great option if you're running with a small crew that might not have access to a boom mic or boom mic operator. Additionally, the pickup pattern of this microphone, as well as the close proximity of the mic to your sound source, allows for a nice, clean signal that's going to sound a lot better than what you might get in your camera's onboard microphone. To power on my receiver, I'll open up this front compartment here and hold down the on-off button right here. As you can see, our lavs just take your standard AA batteries. Now I want my transmitter and my receiver to be able to talk to each other without radio interference. So I can do what's called a scan using the menu on my receiver. To do so, I'll press this set button to bring up my menu and use these arrows to scroll through until I find Easy Setup. I'll press set again, scroll through once more to find Scan New List. Now my receiver is scanning through the frequencies to try to find a good spot for the receiver and the transmitter to communicate. Once my scan is complete, I'll press set and set once more to store the settings. Now that my receiver is set to a good frequency, I want to get my transmitter to match. Now I can set this up in my transmitter's menu manually, but it's a lot easier and quicker to use the sync function found in my receiver's menu. I'll roll through my menu once more until I find sync. I'll press set to activate the sync, and I want to make sure that my transmitter is on as well. Open up this flap and have the transmitter and the receiver facing one another. I can verify that the sync has been successful by this green light, as well if I exit out of these menus, that my group and channel are the same between my receiver and my transmitter here. Lavs can be used in a variety of ways, but one of the more common setups we see here down in the checkout is pairing a Lav kit with a DSLR camera, such as this Canon T3i we see here. I'll take my receiver and place it on top of my camera via this adapter known as a hot shoe. I'll make sure that my receiver is secure, and then I'll affix it to my camera with this 1/8 inch to 1/8 inch cable, also known as mini to mini. I want to plug my mini to mini cable into the output of my receiver, plug it into the input of my camera. On this camera, it's located on the left side. Make sure to verify that the cable's pushed all the way in. It's easy to push it halfway in, and then you won't be getting any signal. Now, I want to plug in my microphone to my transmitter, which I can do via this input here. Go ahead and tamp that down. Now I want to place my microphone near my sound source. If I've set my lavs up correctly, I should be getting signal into the camera. I can monitor this either via headphones if I have a camera like an 80D, or if I don't have headphones as an option, I can monitor on my camera's LCD screen. The intensity of the sound picked up on my microphone is represented here by these audio bars. Now for best results, I want to set the sensitivity or gain of my transmitter, receiver, and camera at optimal levels so that I can get a good sound coming from my talent. Because the behavior and properties of sound depend on so many complex variables, there's no set it and forget it method for setting up gain, but there are some best practices that we can follow. First, I'll want to make sure that my sound recording settings are set to manual. Next, I want to keep the recording level of my camera relatively low because my lavaliers are sending powered audio into the camera. Now I want to come into my sensitivity menu on my transmitter. So I'll go ahead and press set once again. Now for most basic interview setups, anywhere between -15 to -24 dB is approximately appropriate, but this will vary based on your environment and how loud your talent is speaking. Finally, on my receiver, I want to access the AF out menu by pressing set, and I can set my AF out to 0 dB to get a baseline, but don't be afraid to go lower to avoid the risk of clipping. Basically, clipping occurs when we overload the mic, causing distortion that can't be fixed in post. I know this is a lot to take in, but trust me, taking the time to set up your lavs properly is well worth the effort. Basic recorders, like this Zoom H5 Handy recorder, are also effective tools for audio acquisition. Essentially, basic recorders can both capture and store audio, usually on an SD card or some sort of internal hard drive. The Zoom series comes in varying degrees of microphone adaptability, with the H2 being more basic and the H6 being the Cadillac of the line. We also have Marantz and Edirol recorders available. This tutorial is going to focus on the H5, but the principles we learn here can be applied to any of the other models. The H5 features an onboard stereo mic, as well as 2 XLR/TRS inputs, meaning they can accept up to 2 microphones or 1/4-inch inputs, like you might find on an instrument cable to plug in a keyboard. To power on the H5, we're going to pull and hold this on button located here. Like our Lav kits, the H5 runs on your standard AA batteries, which live in this back compartment here. Now if I come right around the corner, I can access our removable SD card, where the H5 will store all of our recording. To get this out, just like on a DSLR camera, I'll give the card a little push and it pops right out. Now it's good practice to format your SD card before recording. To do so, I'm going to press the menu button on the side of my H5 here. That brings up my menu options. I'm going to scroll using this lever until I find SD card. Now to select the SD card option, I want to push this lever in here. Go down to Format. Yes, I'm sure. Great. Now my card is formatted and I'm ready to go. Except, if I look at my monitor here, there's a problem. I'm not getting any signal. That's because the H5 requires us to arm the input that we want to record. I can do that by pressing either this L or R button of my stereo microphone. I'm still not getting any signal. That's because I want to adjust the gain using this knob up top here, numbered 0 through 10. Slowly start to scroll up. You can see on my monitor that I'm starting to get some signal. Now, I should be good to go with my stereo mic. Now we're going to go back to those XLR inputs I mentioned earlier. If I want an additional microphone, I'll grab an XLR cable and mic, and plug them in to one of these inputs. I'm going to use input 1 here. I'm going to arm input 1 and adjust my gain knob until I get my desired signal. If you do all these steps and you're still not getting any input, make sure to check the phantom power settings in your menu. Finally, to stop and start recording on my H5, I'll use this button here. Make sure before starting your takes that this red button is illuminated and that we see the circular recording icon up top here. It's easy when you're stressed or you're hurrying around to think that you've started recording, but you've only pressed the button halfway. Take it from me from experience. Finally, using the monitors is a great way to see if you have signal coming in, but always remember to monitor your audio with headphones. And there you have it, your overview of the Sennheiser Lavs and basic recorder kits. Good luck on set, everybody.